get something jump-started. And a line drive base hit into left. Here comes Zobrist. They got a shot at it. Throw ball tolls is no good. The other runners advance, and the Cubs are on top.
Here's the pitch to Russell. Driven in the air. This will get a run in. Deep right center. Back goes Peterson to the wall. It's gone. Home run. Addison Russell. Cubs lead 4-0.
Here it is. Swinging a drive out into deep center. Peterson goes back to the wall. Gone. And the Cubs now lead 5-0.
Cubs Postseason Live, presented by Fields Auto Group.
Well, it's hot. The sun is shining in Southern California. Cubs and the Dodgers get ready to battle it out in Game 5 of the National League Championship Series. Series tied at 2 games apiece. Jon Lester on the bump for the Northsiders and Joe Madden. He'll be opposed by Kenta Maeda. Cubs look to make it a happy plane ride back to the Windy City. Hello, welcome in to Cubs Postseason Live, presented by our great partners at the Fields Auto Group, along with Todd Hollingsworth. I'm David Kaplan. Holly, 24 hours ago, we're doing a pregame show. Cubs Nation's panicked. The offense is missing. Here we are now, a chance to get on a charter jet and come home with a 3-2 series lead.
It's funny, right? You look at games 3 and 4, and if I would have reversed the outcomes, I think that the Cubs fan base would have just been so much more calm yesterday and still very confident about a Game 5. But we find ourselves here today in a game that I circle in this series and say, this is the one, Cappy. This is the one the Cubs should win. They're swinging the bats. They swung the bats well yesterday. They've got Maeda and Lester going on the mound. This feels like, get it done.
All right, almost time for you to get interactive with our show. Get your mobile, your laptop, your tablet ready. Head to csnchicago.com/vote. In just a few minutes, we will bring you our live fan vote. But first, let's take a look at some of the offensive numbers. All right, Joe Madden stresses, don't panic. He didn't. Same lineup yesterday. He stuck with Rizzo, Russell in the lineup, and it paid off handsomely.
Yeah, it was good to see. And again, I talk about it in body language. They had a lot of fun out there last night. You know, that determination, that bunt that got things going, those 2 strike hits that got things going, the couple of home runs that we had in the ball game, these were all fun things. And it also put pressure on the Dodgers. And you saw what happened when that pressure was applied. The Los Angeles Dodgers started throwing the ball around the field. I want to see a lot more of that again tonight. I really like this matchup, and I really feel like there's some good things that could happen, especially because confidence is high. Think about this, people. I mean, we went out last night. They had 13 hits. They had a bunch of walks. They had a lot of offense, good defense go along with it. And they got their man on the mound tonight, Jon Lester, who has been locked in and absolutely dealing. He's having another fantastic postseason, and I love this matchup. I mean, this Los Angeles Dodgers team, Cappy, is the worst offensive team in all of baseball against left-handed starters. And we've got one of them going tonight. We got our guy, Jon Lester.
An elite left-handed starter. All right, let's head out to Los Angeles, California. Our Kelly Kroll is standing by with our Coors Light game report. Casey?
Hey there, Cap. Well, it is smoking out here in L.A., just under 100 degrees. We'll see if that helps keep the bats hot, right? For the Cubs, those 10 runs they put up last night, tied for the most any team has put up in a postseason game. I think going into this game, it was interesting. There was no panic in that clubhouse. I've been around this team all season long, and down a game, there was nothing going on any differently than they had been doing before. And now that they're tied in this series, it's the same as usual once again. You get the sense that this is just another game to them, even though it's really not. The whole same pregame routine was going on. I think a lot of us heard about how Addison Russell was out here throwing a football around yesterday, just trying to stay loose. Another 7 of them out here just a few minutes ago wrapping up. BP will be optional here in a couple minutes for the Cubs. And when you ask them about momentum, of course, last night, a huge game. They'll tell you momentum goes back and forth a lot during a long series like this one, but it's certainly, they feel like, in their corner after what they did last night.
Yeah. I mean, once our bats got going, it definitely helped out a lot. We stepped back and took a deep breath and, let it happen.
We got some momentum. Our guys start swinging the bat good, and hopefully we keep it going. We all felt pretty good on the bench. I was ready to pinch hit if he didn't need me, but thanks God they didn't need me because it was a great game for us.
It's day to day. It's game to game. It's pitch to pitch. It's small victories, and we look to come in here and got Jon going tomorrow, and we got they're a tough team, and everybody had us buried yesterday, and today we're on top of the world. So we don't ride that roller coaster. We try to stay consistent and just having our bats and trying to do what we do best.
Well, they finally looked like themselves. A lot of the guys saying they finally felt like themselves last night come that fourth inning. You saw it carry over to the fifth and the sixth there. And Ben Zobrist, really, I thought it was interesting. He said, sure, momentum's a big thing, but really we did the small things last night, and that is what championship teams do. Of course, coming off that run with Kansas City last year, he says we just got to keep this rolling in Game 5. And guys, I think they feel pretty good with Jon Lester taking the mound tonight. But before I start sweating out here, I'm going to send it back to you in the studio, and we'll talk to you here in just a bit.
All right, Kelly, thanks very much. Enjoy that gorgeous weather out there, and we'll see how things go tonight. We'll check in with Kelly a little bit later on in our show. Time for our Ameristar Casino starting lineup. So let's take a look at the lineup for the Chicago Cubs. Joe Madden says we're rolling with the same guys with the exception of the catcher position. Dexter Fowler leads off. Chris Bryant's in the 2-hole at third. Riz at first, hitting third. Ben Zobrist cleans up left field. Javi Baez is at second. Hayward in the 6-hole playing right. Addison Russell is in the 7-hole. David Ross will catch his buddy Jon Lester's on the bump. The Cubs 42-11 with postseason, and Ross's starts this season. Well, you and I had a fun conversation about Contreras maybe getting the opportunity to play today. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I was hoping to see him in there. But with that being said, if Addison Russell stays hot, carries over what happened yesterday, that confidence is there, they're swinging the bats, you know that this lineup can absolutely score some runs. You're not thrust into a position where you say, okay, we have to put our absolute most offensive team out there right now, because I really do believe that would have included Wilson Contreras, but that not being the case, you got Hayward in there again tonight. The defense will be out there, and Maeda is not a bad matchup for these guys. He has struggled his last 3 times out. In fact, the last start he made against the Cubs, he struggled 4 innings, 3 earned runs, so there's good history there. But I like what I see. I mean, Jon Lester, goodness gracious, sub-2 ERA over his last 12 regular season starts and 1 earned run so far this postseason. Let's talk more about Jon Lester, because this is a guy who he said, I get butterflies every time on my way to the stadium. Once I get into the game, I'm good. But he said the day I stop getting butterflies, I'm going home, because that means it doesn't mean as much to him. He said, I'm jacked up for this start. He's facing a team that struggles with lefties, but they're also going to probably try to bunt him, try and force him to have to throw over to first, try and steal him when they get on base. How do you handle all that? Well, I don't think you have to worry about handling all of that. I love the fact that the Dodgers think that this is an absolute possibility, that just getting some guys in motion and getting them on base, and then they're going to set everybody wild. Name for me one team that's done that to Jon Lester this year. There aren't any. There's no teams to name. Listen, anything to the first base side, Jon pounces on and runs it over there to first base. Is it a little unorthodox, Cappy? It is. Listen, I've seen him underhand from 30 feet, and we all get a little nervous every now and again. But the bottom line is he covers and fields the position pretty darn well. Sometimes the ball even squeaks through that little leather. Remember how he kind of catches it and the ball gets stuck in the glove? So he'll throw the glove over there. To the left side, you got Chris Bryant. You see it right there. And oh boy, David Ross is ready to pounce as well. He will jump out from behind home plate and field bunts to the third base side. So they've got this thing covered, Cap. I have not seen this. I said this early on in the season. Jon Lester's going to have to work at this. He's going to have to get better. He's going to get burned. I was wrong, and we were all wrong. You know what? He hasn't been getting burned. He has not given up runs because he can't field his position or can't throw to first base, and he's got all these issues holding on runners. Guess what? He's had one of the best seasons of his career, and guess what? He covers the infield, the front part of the infield there off the mound as well as anybody. He just happens to run it over there. He does. He really, for a guy that you go, boy, you don't want him handling the ball out there. He fields it. Man, I thought this was going to be a huge issue, right? We talked about it repeatedly. I talked to Chris Bossi about this. He told me the number. I can't even remember. He said something like 900 times, like 900 ground balls, getting Jon to try to field the position and throw to first base. And when he would do it in practice, he would be good with it. But then he would get in the game and he would get nervous about doing it, just a little bit insecure. But the bottom line is getting outs. We see absolutely everybody believes that at the big league level. We talk about getting results. That's the bottom line. He fields his side of the mound well enough that you don't have to worry about it. And Chris Bryant coming in, he covers the other side. Here is the Dodgers lineup for tonight. Little different look. Kiki Hernandez is going to lead off. He was 0 for 5 in his appearances so far. Justin Turner will hit second and play third. Corey Seager down to the 3-hole from the 2-hole. Carlos Ruiz, who is, I think, 0 for 14 lifetime against Chris Bryant. Howie Kendrick is in left. Adrian Gonzalez down to the 6 hole. Yasiel Puig will start in right, the 7 hole. Jock Peterson is in the 8 hole. And pitcher Kenta Maeda, who had a base hit the last time, is in the 9 spot.
Well, this game, this lineup right here is based on game number 1 against Jon Lester. It's plain and simple. Similar names, juggled differently in the lineup. And if you go back, and it's the first thing, as soon as I saw the lineup, this is exactly what I thought. Dave Roberts sat down, broke down that game and said, okay, who gave me the best at-bats? Who gave me the best at-bats early in this game against Jon Lester? I'm moving those guys up. If you remember, Puig was hitting 4th. He didn't have any of the best at-bats. He ended up sliding down a little bit. Ruiz hit a couple balls on the screws. Now, he may not have come up with, I can't remember if he got hits or not. I think he got 1. But you see him move up to the line.
I think he's 0 for 14 lifetime against Jon.
But he had a couple of good at-bats in the game, and it was part of that, the conversation where we were talking about how hard the balls were hit. He was the guy who hit a couple hard balls. In fact, Dexter Fowler, I believe, made at least 1 play against him. So that's kind of what I saw with this lineup. Kiki Hernandez, remember earlier this year, hit a home run against Jon Lester. He wasn't even on the DS roster. Here he is in the championship series, leading off in the biggest game of the season for them. So that is exactly what you're seeing. He is trying to gain momentum with guys who had fairly decent or solid at-bats against Jon Lester the last time out, and he pushed them up to the top of the lineup, and the guys that didn't, he pushed them to the bottom.
All right, still to come on Cubs Postseason Live, presented by the Fields Auto Group. Ryan Sanberg will join us from L.A. Cubs and Dodgers get ready for Game 5 of the National League Championship Series. Cubs are sending their ace, Jon Lester, to the mound tonight. So will the Dodgers hitters have an advantage, having just faced him 5 days ago? You'll hear from the lefty on that when we return.
Cubs Pregame Live is presented by Fields Auto Group. Fields matters because you matter. See Fields first. FieldsAuto.com.
I'm Dan Fields of the Fields Auto Group. We've prepared a Joe Madden Signature Edition vehicle. It will be raffled off at the end of the season, with the proceeds going to many of Joe's favorite charities.
But not before I have the pleasure of driving it to and from the ballpark. Thank you, Dan, and everyone at Fields Auto Group for this special vehicle and for making this all possible.
For official raffle rules and complete details on how you can win this Joe Madden signature vehicle, go to FieldsAuto.com.
It is an honor for Fields Auto Group to help good causes like Cubs Charities and Misericordia. Fields matters because you matter.
What if an insurance company wasn't only there when things went wrong? Because for every tornado, there's a twister. For every crash, an even bigger collision. And for every tailspin, well, tailspins. State Farm understands that getting the most out of life doesn't just mean being there when things go wrong. It's about being here in all of life's moments when things go perfectly right.
Did you just see that?
That was awesome.
We have to try it.
Okay. Okay, mine's not working.
Maybe you have to bump it.
Oh, yeah, do the bump it thing.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
You can take money out using the BMO Harris app.
You want to buy a hairless cat? There's a pet store down the street.
Cool.
I think she said BMO Harris app.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
When your phone is your debit card, that's the BMO effect. BMO Harris Bank. We're here to help.
The Honda Take Home a CRV sales event is here with incredible deals. Loaded with standard features like Pandora compatibility, a multi-angle rear-view camera, and plenty of cargo space. It's no wonder the CRV was named Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com Best Buy for 2016. Hurry into the Honda Take Home a CRV sales event and get a great deal today.
All right, so far in this series, when the Cubs are facing Clayton Kershaw, Rich Hill, or Kenley Jansen, they are just 5 for 54. That's an 0.93 average, with 18 strikeouts and no extra base hits. However, when facing the rest of the Dodger pitching staff, Northsiders 23 for 79, which is a 291 batting average with 12 extra bases.
Well, and it certainly feels like, the Dodger formula for trying to win this series is just that. Ride Kenley Jansen, ride Hill, ride Kershaw as much and as hard as you can to get to where you need to go, and hope, cross your fingers, that you get something from somebody else. I believe this postseason, they've only got one win from somebody not named Kershaw, meaning Rich Hill was the other guy that did it.
Right.
So Clayton Kershaw has been, his dominant self. We've seen it, and guess what? Those 2 months off with the back issue might have helped him out. Kenley Jansen, one of the best closers in the game. It's kind of how this team is built. they are surviving right now. They've got a decent offense. They can score some runs against you, but the staff is just, Urias has got a future, but, to be thrust into this position and be expected to go out and dominate, I think it's just very, very difficult. Look at our rotation versus theirs. So many more questions. And even with Rich Hill, you just don't know how long he can possibly go over and over and over again. So I think there's a lot riding on tonight's ball game. Mark my words, if in fact they keep this thing close past 5 or 6 innings, you may see a little Terry Francona move on Dave Roberts' part. I'm thinking we may see Kenley Jansen for that 3-inning thing again tonight and see how much they can ride him.
Wow, that'd be unbelievable.
Well, it would be, but I think that's what they have to do in this game tonight because I think the odds are really stacked against them.
All right, let's take a look at the starting pitchers brought to you by Apt Appliances, Electronics, and more on Milwaukee Avenue in Glenview. And we've got the matchup we're looking for. Jon Lester, their ace, against the right-hander Kenta Maeda. His ERA bloated at 9. 7 innings of work, 9 hits, 6 Ks, 5 walks, an 0-1 record. Jon sparkling 1-0 with a .64 in 14 innings, 9 hits, 8 Ks, and just 1 walk. For more on Jon Lester, back to L.A., back to Kelly Crow.
Thanks a lot, Cap. So a Game 1 matchup again, this time in L.A., right? We just saw the numbers between Jon Lester, Kenta Maeda, and, the Cubs obviously got Maeda out of the game in that 4th inning the first time around. As for Jon Lester, keep in mind he only went 6 innings and was pulled by Madden, who afterwards said, didn't really have his best stuff. So listening to David Ross last night, I get the impression that both felt like Jon Lester and the catcher that they had room for improvement coming into this evening. We also saw the Dodgers lineup, same guys, different order, and Jon Lester spoke about yesterday facing a lineup that includes the same guys, even if it is a different order within 5 days of having just seen them.
I think that becomes more of kind of in-game adjustments. You have a plan, and you may have seen something in that game or in the past couple of games where it's a little harder for me. We don't have many lefties that have gotten in the game, so you may have picked up on something that you can maybe use the next time around. But really, it's a matter of having that game plan and going in and trying to execute that plan. And then if they change, then you have to alter it, from there on. So I keep going back to the cat and mouse game of pitching. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And you execute your pitches. I feel pretty good about it.
When you watch Jon pitch, and it's pretty much been the most of the season, especially in the second half, he's got this real calm demeanor and approach about him. The other day at home, wasn't his sharpest, but still gave us a strong opportunity to win that game, and we eventually did. So I like his mound demeanor right now. That's probably what I'm trying to say. His stuff's always about the same, but again, just talking about Lackey in 2002, Jon Lester, present day, when he goes out there, he's going to be there. He's going to be in present tense. He's not going to be overwhelmed with the moment, and you like those kind of attributes in that pitcher on that particular day.
Hearing Madden talk about his mound demeanor right there, that was what David Ross said last night. Jon Lester has been here, done this so many times, expects to see that same feisty competitor out there on the mound this evening, guys, with the sense that he wants to send this team back to Chicago with a 3-2 lead, finish things off there at Wrigley. But maybe, Cap, my favorite quote from the entire week so far is John Lackey saying he can't wait to see Jon Lester straight shove again. So I love that, and I'm thinking that could be what the Cubs are looking for tonight from him.
All right, Kelly, thanks so much. We'll check in again with Kelly a little bit later. Last night, 5 Dodgers relievers threw 5 in the 3rd innings, and that might be a factor tonight. Take a look at Maeda's last 5 starts. Going back to the regular season, he has not lasted more than 4 innings in any of them. He's given up at least 3 earned runs in all 4 of those contests.
And they were dicey, all together. I mean, you see the numbers there, but I'll speak to the walks and the strikeouts. Only 6 walks this postseason. 6 strikeouts, 5 walks. I mean, the 5 walks right there. I mean, you see the whip of 2. I mean, this is somebody who is kind of afraid of the strike zone right now. Again, the walks tell you that he doesn't want to make pitches and hitters count, so he's working his way off the corner, and at the same time, he's also compounding that by making mistakes out over the plate. Unless this is the game of baseball, Cappy. I hate to get crazy about this stuff, but guys will find it and, all of a sudden pull one out of a hat. But predictably, I mean, the Cubs should put together one of their best games based on what we saw from them last night. They feel good about everything that happened last night. Then you're going up against a guy that you had good passes and good bats against, so you got the opportunity to continue the story. I mean, I'm sitting here believing that this is exactly how this game is going to be played. But again, the Cubs have to take full advantage of it. That's what it really comes down to. So maybe we see a little bit of offense and that good aggressive approach early. But Maeda really wanted no part of this Cubs team, especially that second time through the lineup.
And you got to think that Rizzo and Russell, who got the chance to exhale and do a much better job last night offensively, they're going to be better against Maeda tonight.
Well, I mean, you look at our lineup, it's actually complete, Cap. I mean, you got Fowler top, Bryant, Rizzo, Zobrist, Baez, Hayward. I mean, you've got hot hitters. Everybody's contributed. Everybody's had a little bit of a moment so far in this championship series, and that's what you want. So everybody comes into this game against what I see as their weakest link and the opportunity to just flat out pounce on them. Now, granted, this is the game of baseball. You and I have talked about this for years.
When you think something will happen, the other happens.
It usually does, right, a lot of times. And I'm not saying that's the way this is necessarily going to go tonight, but the reason I'm so encouraged is because we did pick up a couple additional hitters last night in Russell and Rizzo, who are now, their shoulders are relaxed, as I talked about. They look good. Their swings look fluid. They look like they found the middle of the field. That's a great approach against Maeda. And when you're resilient, that's the best thing this team has done this year is have that resilient approach top to bottom of the lineup. You've got a chance to do damage. I just hope we see it early enough.
All right, still to come on Cubs Postseason Live presented by the Fields Auto Group. We'll head back out to L.A. We'll be joined by Hall of Famer Ryne Sanberg. We'll get his thoughts on Game 5. And Addison Russell broke out of his slump in a big way last night. So what did he do differently in his approach to the plate from earlier this season? Well, Holly will break it all down for you when we return.
When you visit Canals BMW, your toughest decision is which BMW will you drive home? A sporty BMW convertible? BMW sedan? BMW coupe? Or one of these BMW high-performance luxury models? And of course, everybody can get into one of these beauties. Canals BMW. Outstanding selection, competitive pricing, always a great decision.
You know the feeling. The rush of every roll, every flip, sip, bite, note, and night. You know the feeling. Get it at Ameristar.
Now playing on DirecTV Cinema.
Ghostbusters.
We see things no one else is willing to see. We do things others can't do.
Oh, you gonna get it now? This is just wrong.
Ghostbusters. Movies start at Channel 125.
Get up.
What time is it?
I think I know what it's time for.
If your family is complete, the safest and most effective form of birth control is a vasectomy. Call today for a same-day consultation and procedure in one of our 3 state-of-the-art facilities.
Daddy, how are babies made?
I can tell you how they're not made.
Advanced Urology Associates. Safe, simple, and effective.
All right, last night was the 4th time in Cubs postseason history. Team has scored 10 or more runs in a game. Last time that had happened back in Game 2 of the 03 NLCS. Cubs jumped out to a big lead against the Padres in Game 1 of the 84 NLCS. And way back in 1908, they put a 10 spot on the board against the Tigers in Game 1 of the World Series. Those guys will try and turn that trick again. Welcome back to Cubs Postseason Live, presented by the Fields Auto Group. Cubs fans hoping for another big game from Addison Russell. We'll see. The weather should be very, very conducive to hitting tonight. The temperatures north of 90 degrees. All right, let's go over to my partner, Todd Hollinsworth, at the touchscreen.
You're absolutely right about that, Cappy. When it warms up in the valley there in L.A., the ball starts flying. We know this team can certainly hit some long balls, so we're going to get excited about that. What we're going to learn today is about Addison Russell and a lot of the adjustments he made last night and why I'm so encouraged for a big game tonight from Addison Russell. So let's put this in play right now. I'm going to give you some numbers. I'm going to show you what Addison Russell did this year. Now, remember, he had 95 RBIs on the season. He had a fantastic season. driving in runs, but he also hit for a good amount of power. Had 21 home runs this season. But here's the thing that's so interesting about it. As you see right now, the percentages, 81% of his home runs went to left field, 19 to center by definition, and 0 went to right field. He does not have any opposite field power yet, but I want to move this a little bit farther. I'm actually going to show you all of his home runs. Check that out. You see all those blue lines? Boom, 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 boom. That's all 21 of them. Guess what? That 19% is like actually right there on the cut line. You see it right there? Those balls aren't even basically even to center field by definition. They're actually to left center field. So it's still, in a way, pulling the baseball. So we know that Addison Russell has had a very successful season this year pulling the baseball. Let's move on to clip number 2. This is last night, Addison Russell. You see it right now. We're winning 2-0, but here's what I want to show you right there. You see that count right there? That is an Addison Russell go count. That's a go count for anybody. That is the happy zone. If I get a pitch to hit, I want to pull. I want to get out in front and hit one a long way, but typically to my pull side. But what was different last night? Let's put it in play. What was Addison Russell working on through these struggles? Staying up the middle and going the other way. And what do you see? A long home run to right center field. Jack Peterson, watch out. There's a wall there. Be very careful. Addison Russell, he's as jacked about that approach right there because he hasn't done it this year. I mean, that is the definition of your work paying off. Great to see. So now let's move on to clip number 3. I want to show you something else about Addison Russell this year. Again, kind of understanding what kind of hitter he is and how he uses his hits and where his hits are. So we've got this. I want to show you his percentages of hits. This is all of his hits this year, not just the power. So you understand that still, he uses right field a little bit, not a lot. And remember, he doesn't hit for a lot of power that way. He does pick up some hits to center field and obviously very much a pull hitter, 45% going to left field. So as we put this one in play, you see the percentages there. So we're going to move on to clip number 4, and we're going to watch everything that we saw from last night minus a long fly ball to center field. First of all, you got the home run to straightaway center, working over to right. Stayed inside the baseball, ahead in the count. Let's keep watching this video right here. He's even going to pick up an infield hit to the right side. You see that right there? That's a slider working off the corner, but you see the shift. They're saying, Addison Russell, man, you pull everything. What are you doing going the other way? Infield hit, errant throw, finds himself on second base. Keep it going, Addy. Why not? Boom. Another shot the other way. You see the count? That's even down in the count, 0-1. Line shot the other way. There are so many great things going on with Addison Russell right now. I believe he shows up for work today. He probably was the first one in the clubhouse. He is excited to get back out there on the field and to do what he did last night. He stayed inside the baseball. He used his opposite field, and he found all sorts of great results. And as Cappy said, if it's hot in L.A., that ball will be jumping. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Addison Russell go to right field for a home run tonight.
All right, Holly, let's head back now to L.A. and welcome in the Hall of Famer Ryne Sanberg, who has been joining us all postseason long and will be as long as this ride continues. Rhino, let's talk about today. Last night was a good night, but that night is over. You move on to the next one. What are you seeing from the boys as they're out in the field, getting loose, getting ready? You got Jon Lester rolling. What is your gut feeling telling you tonight?
Yes, we got the pregame going on right now, and it's business as usual. Not a lot of interferences over there. I see guys really getting in the zone, getting their focus, as I did yesterday, and I think that was a good approach yesterday. A little bit more business-like, and the fact that Jon Lester's on the mound for the Cubs, they have to feel good about that. He's the ace of the staff this year. He's on a terrific roll, and so are the bats after last night. So I think the guys have confidence, but kind of cool and collected right now, and working at their game, all business during batting practice.
Rhino, it's my understanding that it seems to be even a little hotter there in L.A. today. Do you anticipate the ball jumping a little bit more?
You know, Holly, that's possible. I'm getting sunburned as I do this interview. I'm right here in the sun, but the sun's out. I think it'll be similar to it was a little warmer today, but I think it'll be similar conditions once the game starts. And it basically turns into a night game right at 5 o'clock. All the shadows are off the outfield walls, and the players can see the ball well, and that's the way it was the first 2 games. So I don't see anything different. But I think the important thing is last night a little bit of small ball getting on base with a bunt for a base hit from Zobrist. So I think, and then followed with another base hit to get a rally going. So I think men on base is the key here. I don't think you really rely on the long ball, but it's definitely possible with this lineup by any of the guys. But I think setting the table first, putting some pressure on this young pitcher and the Dodgers, because I think this is a game that is a pivotal game. I think it's important for the Cubs going home and facing Kershaw. If the Cubs would happen to pull this one out, I think Kershaw would be gettable in a clinching situation for the Cubs after being on the road back at Wrigley Field. Hopefully the bats continue tonight, and I think that'd be a good combination. I think that he's a guy that could be beaten at Wrigley Field.
Rhino, I want to ask you about Dave Roberts' philosophy tonight, because he's got to pull out all the stops. He doesn't know what he's going to get from Kenta Maeda. Do you expect, like Todd does, that if they are in a tight ball game or they have a narrow lead 5-6 innings in, that we might see Kenley Jansen for an extended run or a quick hook on Maeda if he struggles early?
That would not surprise me at all, especially an early type of a close situation with the game on the line, with the couple guys on, a bases loaded type of a situation. Managers could go to the guy in the 6th inning, in the 7th inning, where that could be the close situation, the pivotal part of the game. So that's very possible. He is a guy that could have some length, could go 3 innings, maybe even to the 4th inning. A guy that likes the ball and seems to have a rubber arm. So I see Dave Roberts trying just about anything here at home in Dodger Stadium, taking advantage of their home turf, and hopefully the Cubs can really put some pressure on them early and let their ace pitcher go out there and pitch his games, using both sides of the plate, mixing it up good. And it'll be interesting because now with this is the second time through the rotation. So back in my day, we'd face a guy and then we'd face him a week later, just because that's the way the schedule was. Hitters do adjust to pitching at the major league level, so it'll be interesting to see this second time around. But I think the Cubs are on a high right now with and they have a happy lineup as far as what they did last night with the 13 hits.
Rhino, and I think you made a great point there with the expectations that Dave Roberts will pull out all the stops. I want to ask you, from your own experiences at the major league level, what about a bullpen day? And I think that Dave might actually pull this off. I don't really expect Maeda to be in there very long, which means he's going to be going to that bullpen. When you're a hitter and you've got to deal with all these different arms coming out of the bullpen, what was your focus as a hitter?
Well, first of all, you're really looking at the reports and you're trying to get a good look right away. You're going back to past, thinking about past at-bats that you've had off of him. And these players today do a lot of video work. So when they come into a series like this with the Dodgers, they study the guys out of the bullpen and how they approach each of them. It's right there on film for them. And I think they have a pretty good idea on how they're going to be pitched from the bullpen guys. But that mix and matching, sometimes that can be a little bit tricky for an offense. But, you know, the Cubs have been very good scoring late in games, the 7th, 8th, 9th inning all year long, and that's facing bullpen guys. So they seem to like getting the starter out of there and getting into the bullpens.
Rhino, appreciate the knowledge, my man. Enjoy the game. We'll talk to you on a post-game show.
Sounds good. I'm going to get a little sunscreen here.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to need it. All right, there you go. That's our guy, Ryan Sanberg. Time for our Cubs fan poll. To vote, visit csnchicago.com/vote. No special app, no cost to you. Just visit that website, get interactive with Holly and with me. Our question is, what play was the biggest momentum swinger in Game 4? Your choices are Gonzalez called out at the plate, Zobrist's 4th inning bunt, Contreras' RBI single for the game's first run, or Addison Russell's 4th inning home run. I am going to vote Contreras' single with the send of Ben Zobrist by Gary Jones. Yeah. Albeit questionable, it worked out.
No, you know where I stand on this. That's an easy go for me. I was all over it last night just because it was reckless. And maybe that's not the right word to use. I don't want anybody getting hard on Gary Jones there. But what it is.
You agreed with it.
Absolutely. I mean, again, that's the way that you have to think. When things aren't going your way, I love thinking outside the box. You try to do some things, even if they don't work and they might backfire just a little bit. Try it, because it gives you a different perspective. So many things went right on this outside of, the 2-strike base hit from Contreras, putting a guy in play, taking that risk, pushing a guy around, even though he was barely getting there, Ben Zobrist. I just thought it was a brilliant play in trying to make something happen. More times than not, listen, you can get burned by this. The percentages tell you don't send them right there. But you know what? Tolles threw a hook shot. He threw a cutter into almost the dugout.
All right, now a lot of people obviously voting for the Zobrist fourth-inning bunt, but that wasn't the momentum changer. It may have been good for the Cubs to get a man on, but the momentum changer was the play at the plate when you got the lead after they had a guy called out at the plate.
Right.
To them, it was a harmless bunt at the time. Contreras driving in a run, and you took a chance, and all of a sudden, they got second and third, and they got the lead. That, for me, was the shot of adrenaline the dugout needed.
I absolutely agree. I mean, I think this should be between the Gonzalez play and the Contreras play. You know, to me, it's as simple as that. But I do understand what I think fans are feeling. The Zobrist bunt was the idea, and what it represented was some small ball. It wasn't the big swinging. It wasn't the strikeouts. It wasn't the slumping offense. What it was, hey, Ben Zobrist is going to try something cute here. He's going to drop a bunt down to the third base line, find himself over at first base, and play a little bit of small ball. We talked about it all game yesterday. How many times I got asked that question, what do they have to do to get out of it? I get it, but it's not the answer. The right answer is the play at the plate.
Yeah,
Gary Jones sending Zobrist and getting him across the plate.
Yeah, there's no question in my mind. The Zobrist bunt was an important thing in retrospect, but at the time, it didn't change the momentum. Zobrist is going to be the winner, though, 49%. Still ahead at Cubs postseason live presented by the Fields Auto Group. Look at Corey Seager's rookie numbers and see how they compare to the last Dodger to win the Rookie of the Year award. He just happens to be seated to my left.
That's right.
He's got way better hair.
We are the Coors Brewing Company, and our mountain is brewing the world's most refreshing beer. A beer proud enough to wear our name in big, red, scripted letters. That's why we lager, filter, and package cold. Because we believe every climb deserves a refreshing finish. Whatever your mountain, climb on.
With a curved ultra-high-definition screen, Samsung's SUHD TVs give you a brighter picture and the most brilliant colors for the best viewing experience. It's Samsung's best TV, and it's here at Apt Electronics, available in screen sizes from 48 to 88 inches. Come see it today. Guaranteed low prices, unbeatable selection, and free local delivery. Apt, pleasing people since 1936.
Hit every mark. Thread every needle. Turn every ride into a thrill ride. The power and precision of the Lexus Performance line. Now available with turbocharged engines for even more exhilaration. Lease the 2016 IS Turbo with zero due at signing for $399 a month for 36 months. See your Lexus dealer.
Look at it, lads. New York City. Just doesn't get any better than this.
Actually, it does. With Grubhub, you can get the best foods delivered anywhere.
Gluten-free pad thai here for Seamus.
I am Seamus.
Gluten-free?
Yeah. Can't even taste the difference. Oh, you gotta lock up that front tire.
It's Hispanic Heritage Month. ComEd is inspiring young minds. The Solar Spotlight program teaches young Latinos about solar power and promotes STEM careers and opportunities. Learn more at poweringlives.comed.com. ComEd, powering lives. All right, back to California we go. Tom Verducci from Sports Illustrated. He's done great work on the broadcast. He is a veteran baseball scribe, and he's kind enough to give us a few minutes of his time. Tom, I know it's a lot hotter out there. The Dodgers are shaking up their batting order, their lineup a bit to try and jumpstart their offense against Jon Lester. What's your take? Because they've got some guys in there who have literally no track record of success against Jon.
Yeah, really. Specifically, Carlos Ruiz, 0 for 16, now in the cleanup spot. But they liked his at-bats recently against left-handers, so the 0 for 16 really doesn't matter. His swings, especially in the NLDS, convinced the Dodgers to put him in the cleanup spot. And Kike Hernandez, kind of a wild card top of the lineup, is a guy who spent the first round in Arizona making some mechanical adjustments on his swing. So they like him. He's a guy who's actually killed Madison Bumgarner, handles the ball in very well, and of course, that is the fulcrum of Jon Lester's game, working that ball into right-handed hitters.
Yeah, and actually has a home run against him earlier this season. All right, Tom, let me ask you this. Do you think Dave Roberts pulls out all the stops in this ball game? I got a Cleveland Indians feel tonight. I might see Kenley Jansen in the 7th inning. Do you think he'll just do whatever it takes to get a win?
I don't know about the 7th, but I can tell you this. Both managers here are managing the first 21 outs of the game. Both managers already have the last 6 outs covered. That's right, Chapman for 6, Jansen for 6. Lock it in. Both managers basically are playing a race to get to the closer. Now, Joe Madden is trying to get there with one guy, Jon Lester, to cover 7 innings. And Dave Roberts, I'm with you. I don't think you'll see Kenta Maeda take a second at bat in this game. I think he's a 3 or 4 inning pitcher. And that starts the relay race, passing the baton from one guy to another in that Los Angeles bullpen. Now, that's a recipe they've used a lot this year, guys, so they're very comfortable playing those kind of games.
Clayton Kershaw told Dave Roberts, hey, man, I'm willing to go on Thursday on 3 days rest. He's already pitched 4 times in 10 days, albeit one was just a 7-pitch outing. But Roberts said, no, under no circumstance am I using you tonight. We'll have you ready for Game 6 in Chicago. Are you surprised with a chance to take a stranglehold in the series that Kershaw isn't pitching tonight?
No, I'm not, and I'm totally on board with the decision. And Dave Roberts told Clayton Kershaw after Game 3 that the Dodgers won, you're getting the ball in Game 6. So that allowed him to do all the prep work necessary and not be left twisting in the wind. It meant he threw a full bullpen yesterday, going through his same routine today. I love what he's doing here, guys, because I do think pitching him on short rest, significant downside that they had just tapped this guy out. And think about this, no matter what happens here tonight, the scenario for the Dodgers in Game 6 is something that they like. He's either pitching to put the Dodgers in the World Series or pitching to save the season for the Dodgers. And they're very comfortable with that. So I really like what Roberts is doing here with Clayton Kershaw.
Tom, appreciate your knowledge. Your thoughts on who wins this game tonight? Obviously, decided advantage Cubs in terms of starting pitching. But again, Dave Roberts will pull out all the stops.
Yes. I said going in, I give the Cubs the game every game Lester starts. I give the Dodgers every game that Kershaw starts. I'll stay on that. But I'll tell you this, guys. This game will be decided by whether the Dodgers can disrupt Jon Lester. They did it a little bit in Game 1. I'm telling you, you're going to see a lot more of it tonight. You're going to see guys dancing off the bases. You're going to see guys bunting, fake bunting, everything that they can do to get Jon Lester out of his rhythm. That will be a key to this game if the Dodgers can steal one from Jon Lester.
Appreciate the knowledge. Have a good time tonight. We'll see you back in Chicago.
You got it.
There he is, great Tom Verducci. Our time for Built for Business, presented by Comcast Business. Today, we're looking at Dodgers rookie Corey Seager and comparing his numbers to LA's last Rookie of the Year. That would be my guy, Holly Tom, 28. Too bad we couldn't find a headshot with the mullet. Seager batted .308 with 26 home runs, 72 RBIs. Well, back in 1996, Todd, .291, 12 bombs, 59 knocked in, and stole 21 bags.
Yeah,
Comcast Business, built for business.
I'm no Corey Seager, but I see that
not many are.
We didn't put his stolen bases up there. I don't know. Did I beat him in the stolen? Do we find a column that I beat him in?
Nelly,
I didn't beat him. I didn't beat him in homers or RBIs or runs, and certainly not batting average. But I had a good year. The competition was a little different in my group.
Our crack staff is looking up the stolen bases.
We're working on that. I may have had him on stolen bases.
You might have got him on stolen bases. All right. He had 3.
I had 21. There you go.
How about that? So you got him big time there.
Boom.
Time once again to get interactive with the show. Go to csnchicago.com/vote. You do not need a special app. There's no cost to you. Big play from early on in last night's game was Adrian Gonzalez being called out at the plate by umpire Angel Hernandez. Dodgers challenged the play, but after a lengthy review in New York, the call was upheld. We're asking you this. Cup fans, be honest. Was Gonzalez safe or out at home? Holly?
He's out. He was called out, and that's the way that the rules state it. Now, I don't agree with the way the rule is. I'm not going to try and get long-winded here. I have a tendency to do that every now and again. Here's the deal. He was called out originally, so the rule is you go to the review, 5th umpire, he looks at it and he says, hey, what was the call? He was out, okay, so I need evidence to overturn it. Doesn't come up with that evidence, the call stands. Now, if he would have been called safe last night, guess what he would have been? Safe. That's exactly right. So my big problem with this is the way that the rule works. I would like to see the 5th umpire be a little bit more subjective. I don't want to know, and I don't know how you do it because, again, you see the play and you see the umpires involved in the play, but ultimately I want him in a position to say, what do you see? I don't want there to be influence on the call, yet there almost has to be. So that's what I don't like about it. It's the way it works. But the bottom line is this. There was not enough evidence to turn it over.
Yeah, that was the thing. We were in the newsroom, and when the play happened, we were yelling, that's going to stand simply because there wasn't enough.
Right.
You have to know within 100% that is his hand hovering?
Right.
Is his hand totally down? You don't know. Now, do I think that he was safe? I do.
Yeah.
Do I know with absolute certainty that his hand was totally on the plate, or was it just above?
We were looking at shadows last night. You're like, Holly, come here. Let's check out the shadow. Look at the shadow. There was still a little bit of a shadow
on Mike and Mike this morning.
I get it, right?
Mike and Mike broke it down. It showed where there's no dirt moving where his palm is. They said if his hand's on the dirt would have moved.
Right.
Granules would have moved. None did. Do I think he was safe? Yes, I do.
Are we crazy?
Had he been called safe, I think the call would have stood safe.
Well, right. I mean, this is just, it almost feels insane, though, doesn't it? That
he goes on Twitter, I'm talking about Gonzalez, and says, us against the world. Come on, dude.
All right, well, that's what he was
lobbying. You and your $250 million payroll, too.
That's what he was lobbying for, though. I mean, right. I mean, you saw him even during the delay while they were looking at it. He was lobbying for the call. He had actually called upon the Fox guys, who were there obviously covering the game, doing a good job with that. And what do you got? They said, oh, safe. And, I mean, that actually played into it. So, I mean, I understand that. He's trying to kind of rally the troops.
Yeah, I get it. Totally. All right, we're going to take another break on Cubs Postseason Live, presented by the Fields Auto Group. Anthony Rizzo, not only a big hit in the box score last night for the Cubs, big hit with umpire Angel Hernandez. You'll hear their conversation and exchange when we return.
Combining home and auto can save you big. Talk to a State Farm agent today.
Hello? This is she.
Is that the doctor?
Okay, wow, really? It's two? That's great news, thank you.
It's two?
Yes, it's two. It's 2 for 1 windows at Feldco.
Feldco is offering 2 windows for the price of 1, with no money down and no interest until 2018.
2 windows for the price of 1 ends soon. Hurry. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
Is there such thing as a free lunch? Yes, as well as breakfast for our Fields customers at any of our locations with a cafe. Hello, I'm Dan Fields. There's also free loaners and free car washes. You see, a Fields customer not only gets our lowest price, they also get all of our amenities at no additional cost. There is one thing you don't receive: pressure. We simply treat people the way we want to be treated. It's a commitment to our customers we made long ago. Fields matters because you matter.
You know the feeling. The rush of every roll, every flip, sip, bite, note, and night. You know the feeling. Get it at Ameristar.
Hello?
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Are you serious? Not khakis. What are you wearing?
For fastballs, call me. For saving time and money, call State Farm.
You sound hideous.
It's an hour and 11 minutes until the start of the game. There's still time for you to give Feldco a call, 866-4-FEL-DC. There was one moment from last night's game that got overshadowed, and that came in the 5th inning. On a 3-1 pitch, Anthony Rizzo thought he saw ball 4 and took off down to first base. However, Angel Hernandez behind the plate said, strike! Rizzo returned to home plate, and cameras caught Rizzo saying sorry for possibly showing Hernandez up. When Rizzo made his next plate appearance, the microphone Hernandez was wearing for Fox caught this exchange.
Hey, my fault on that. My fault on that. Strike.
What, brother?
Well,
Come on, you're good, bro. Come on, you're awesome. You're awesome with us.
I don't like.
No worries. You're competing. I understand. Don't worry. And you know what's best of it? You come back and you tell me that. That's how good of a guy you are. Kidding me? Thanks.
How about that? That's how good a guy you are. Thanks. Well, I thought that was cool. And Angel Hernandez is not the most popular guy sometimes in this town. Right. The Steve McMichael exchange, a couple of other incidents. That kind of endeared him to everyone else.
Well, and it should. That's the way you want to handle yourself out there. You certainly show respect to the umpires. They're the ones calling the game, and they don't have an easy job. We as players, we always understood that. But again, being very respectful to that situation, Anthony didn't want to show him up. He didn't want to do anything wrong there. He thought it was a ball. And again, we had mixed results in the strike zone last night. I thought both teams had moments where they were a little frustrated with what was going on behind home plate.
He was tighter than we saw Eric Cooper.
Absolutely, but there were missed calls on both sides because you saw Dodger hitters frustrated. And it's funny because we look at Anthony Rizzo and how he handles. But let's remember this. I mean, Anthony's, I know he was swinging the bat better last night. He was feeling better about himself. But when that happened, I mean, it's not like it's been all hunky-dory. He still handled himself like a pro. Do you remember Jock Peterson when he got walked off after the strike three? I mean, he lit Angel up. That stuff lingers. I mean, umpires don't forget. I was given a very big piece of advice by my teammate, Tim Wallach, at the time when I was a Dodger. Don't ever show up an umpire, no matter how wrong he is, because guess what? That moment is over, and you're going to have a lot more moments in your future. And that guy will remember. If you embarrass him, he will embarrass you. So, again, they got a little power in that situation, but it's always in your best interest to make things right before you move on.
Yeah, Rob Drake just called. He said he's still looking for it.
He's still wrong. That's right. Out. You know what? You're still wrong, Rob.
Well, let's hear from Joe Madden just moments ago on Rizzo's big game last night.
He was very much full of questions prior to the game. He's just looking for that right thought or that right answer in order to get him unearthed a little bit. So we had a nice conversation, but he went up there. The whole time, I never saw him panicking, in a sense. He was just wanting to feel more comfortable up there. What am I doing wrong, differently? Just what is this small, different thing that I'm doing? Because he was following his pitch straight back. And then he didn't last night. I think the 3-0 count, I was hoping that he would swing at it. Definitely wanted to green light him, and he hit it foul, but he hit it well, and that was good. Because I didn't know how he was going to react to that 3-0. I thought, talking to Aaron Boone about it, I thought maybe during the season, if he's going well and you let him swing on a 3-0, he might take it because I'm swinging well. But he utilized that moment last night, hopefully to get him right, and then, of course, hitting the home run fair. So I have so much faith. We all have so much faith in the guy, and the way he just plays the complete game. Like to believe that his confidence has been picked up going into tonight, but he definitely was not swinging under the ball last night.
Seeing most of these swings.
All right, we have to take our final timeout of Cubs Postseason Live, presented by the Fields Auto. When we come back, you will get Holly's keys to the game. We'll each pick our key performer as the Cubs and the Dodgers each look to take a 3-2 lead in the National League Championship Series.
Did you just see that? That was awesome. We have to try it. Okay. Okay, mine's not working. Maybe you have to bump it. Oh, yeah, do the bump it thing. Right. Okay. Yeah.
You can take money out using the BMO Harris app.
You want to buy a hairless cat? There's a pet store down the street.
Cool.
I think she said BMO Harris app. Yeah, that makes more sense.
When your phone is your debit card, that's the BMO effect. BMO Harris Bank, we're here to help.
When you visit Canals BMW, your toughest decision is which BMW will you drive home? A sporty BMW convertible? BMW sedan? BMW coupe? Or one of these BMW high-performance luxury models? And of course, everybody can get into one of these beauties. Canals BMW. Outstanding selection, competitive pricing, always a great decision.
If you live in here, you love it here. Yeah, if you visit, it's where you wanna live. That's how it's done Chicago style. That lake sure look like Chicago smile. And all the while,
standing on your big shoulders, steady through all types of weather. I have running through nothing but love for you. Stay here forever.
Now playing on DirecTV Cinema before it's available on Netflix or Redbox.
You are Tarzan. Tarzan. There's 1,000 men down there, 20,000 more on the way. We don't stand a chance. Climb on my back. Don't think for a second you're saving my life.
The Legend of Tarzan. Movie start at Channel 125.
All right, welcome back to Cubs Postseason Live, presented by the Fields Auto Group. That is Matt Caesar's bat. Anthony Rizzo said today, yes, I will be using that bat again.
Send it to the hall.
A Caesar bat the other night that shattered on the infield hit in the ninth that might have got him going, he said, a little bit. Then he used another Caesar bat yesterday after he struck out twice with his own bat. Caesar said in the dugout, my boy's got my bat. He's going to hit a home run. And he did, and then he got a 2-run single, and then he got another single. So he'll use Caesar's
Well,
bat.
the great part about that story is Matt admitted to this last night during the postgame that, he got his bats faster because the big guys had been using the bat. You remember that, how cool that was?
Big dogs.
I mean, I remember this. It's right. So, some of the stars that I play with Hall of Famers, they get their bats in like 2 days. The rest of us get them in like 2 weeks. But if you said, I'm getting these for Mike, you could get your bat and just put his name on it. It was all good. But I don't know. This is a funny one for me because, sharing bats is very common amongst teammates. I mean, they do it all the time.
Big deal now.
Well, I know. It's got all sorts of traction, and he's playing it up. I don't blame him.
All right, time for our Fields Auto Group keys to the game. Here's Todd.
All right, here we go. Do it again. Let's start right off the top. Listen, people, we got early offense. Maybe not as early as we thought maybe we were going to get it last night, but I really want to see that early offense tonight. What I'm playing off of is yesterday and the Kenta Maeda angle on this one. He has struggled. There's no doubt about it. Bloated ERA, 9 in the postseason. He's had his issues with the walks. He's had his issues with the pitches out over the plate, the 2 ERA. All of these things factor in. Remember, this start here was at Wrigley Field. I thought there was more damage coming. They got him out of there. It might even be shorter tonight. So the opportunity to pounce on Maeda, I really feel is early because I think Dave Roberts is going to pull him conditionally regardless. I don't think if he gets through, the first couple innings that he's going to continue to try to stretch Maeda out. He's going to get him out of there quick. This is going to be a bullpen day for the Dodgers. All right, living on the edge. Let's get back to Jon Lester and his last start against this Dodger team. Living on the edge was a big part of what he does. Now, there were some elevated balls, and we had some great conversation about this afterward. There was some great defense behind him. You see the Fowler play right there. Anthony Rizzo caught a liner. Chris Bryant, even Joe Madden took him out after 6. Jon Lester was a little ticked off about it, and I frankly don't blame him because the bottom line was he was getting results. But some of his pitches were up. Let's see if Jon can make that adjustment tonight. Remember, we talked about it already. It seems like the ball might be flying just a little bit more in L.A. tonight because it's really, really hot right now. So, again, we're going to keep our eyes on that. We don't want to see that ball up. We need to see it down where he's lived all season long. And as I said just a second ago, expect the unexpected from Dave Roberts. Whether we're talking stolen bases, bunts, trying to put guys in play, I don't know how much that's worked. Everybody said the same thing all season long, and the Cubs have handled it. And you got David Ross behind the plate, so go ahead, try to run. I dare you. We'll see what ends up happening. But what I'm talking about here are the matchups. You're going to see a lot of bullpen, and if you remember correctly, Dave Roberts will start switching out his players with right and left-handed hitters as the game goes on quite quickly if, in fact, they choose to make those decisions early.
All right, key performer. I won last night. I'm going Anthony Rizzo. Big night again.
Shocker, Chris Bryant.
Shocker. Thanks for watching Cubs Postseason Live presented by the Fields Auto Group. Don't forget, as soon as the game goes final, you switch back here to CSN. Holly and I will break down all the highlights, bring your reaction from Los Angeles. Stay tuned. Bears Pregame Live is next. Go Cubs.